So, but one person is not tired of talking to combat sports, and it's Sean Singletary, because he gave us an Ask Us Bro question. He says, "Who are your three favorite boxing and MMA fighters of all time?"
So three of each.
I think he wants three of each. I think that's what he means. That's pretty simple for me. Like that I can roll that off the top of my head pretty easy. My three favorite boxers of all time are Roy Jones, Andre Ward, and Sugar Ray Leonard. That's just
Yeah.
easy. That's
So
easy.
mine would be Roy Jones, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, yeah, I can dig it. I can dig it. Um, as far as mixed martial arts, that's pretty easy too for me. My three favorite fighters are John Jones, Tyron Woodley, and Demetrius Johnson. Those are my three favorites.
My three favorites would be Anderson Silva. I have a lot. I have a lot of fighters that I do like, though. A lot of fighters I like. Um, in terms of to watch, John is my favorite to watch ever.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, John is a person. He's made a lot of mistakes
yeah,
and has admitted that he doesn't have the greatest character.
yeah.
But as a fighter, yeah, I really do like watching John. Um, Anderson Silva overall is probably, you know, my favorite. And what would be the last one? Gets competitive after that. I have to think about that one for a while. It gets
For
competitive after.
for me, for me, like I generally, usually I don't like people who are just super dominant. Like it's not that I don't. I shouldn't say I don't like. Let me roll that back. Those people don't tend to be my favorites, right? Usually, the people who tend to be my favorites are people who are who've been through something. They had to have some sort of comeback story, whether it was of their own doing or not. The people who I latch on to as my favorites are usually somebody who is maybe not that easy to like, right? So they become my rally and cry connection type of a person, right? So Tyron Woodley has never been respected in the UFC. He's never been given the credit that he truly deserves as one of the greatest welterweight champions of all time. Um, even when he wins, he gets criticized, right? And so he's also because I'm an urban African American, right? He's one of the few urban African Americans in mixed martial arts. So I draw a connection to that because most of the African Americans in mixed martial arts don't act anything like me. They don't move like me. They don't talk like me. They don't. And because I see that connection with him, that and his skill level and the fact that he's not getting respect, that drew me to Tyron Woodley really, really early on. So I've never not rooted for Tyron Woodley. John is just amazing.
Yeah.
John is just John. Me and John don't have anything in common except we're both two tall black men, and that's about it. But John is just so freaking good that it's just I am literally in awe of how good he is at fighting. So that's where the love for John comes in. And then as far as Demetrius doesn't get respect. He doesn't get respect. He is very likely the greatest mixed martial artist in the world. It's between him and John, in my opinion. But he's little, and he suffers from size bias, which is prevalent in the United States. Which is one of the biggest reasons why he wanted to go to one championship, where the smaller weight classes are far more appreciated because people are generally smaller in these
Mhm.
in these countries. So and his nerd core movement is is respected, right? And you mix in the fact that he doesn't get respect and that he is freaking brilliant, and the fact that you know what I'm saying. I mean, the dude is just it's just something about the way this guy fights is just amazing to watch. So all of those things, that's why they're all three of those guys are my favorites. And it's weird because they're all three different guys, very different types of people. But those three guys are my favorite mixed martial artists. Sugar Ray Leonard is like Sugar Ray Leonard is the great fighter that I grew up on. And
Yeah, that was what it was for me. I
yeah,
watched a lot of tapes
yeah.
of his, and I could have honestly thrown Hagler into that because
Hmm.
Hagler was the bad guy I grew up with. So I
Hmm.
liked him, but I liked him as a heel.
Hmm. I never
You know
liked
what I
Hagler.
mean?
I never like. I
Um,
respected Hagler. I respected him, and
well,
I knew
when I
how
was a kid,
outstanding he
I
was.
disliked him,
Yeah,
but I always wanted to watch him.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I mean by liked. That's kind of the same thing with John to a degree. John Jones. It's like I like Anderson Silva. He does, Wing Chun and
Yeah,
actual MMA matches. That's awesome, right?
yeah.
He's true martial artist, right?
Right.
Um, John, excellent martial artist, super creative as a fighter, probably the greatest of all time. There's really not a lot of evidence that he isn't the greatest of all time. And because the only fight he ever lost is a fight he beat a guy to death the wrong way
Yeah, he got
for
disqualified
too
for 12 to
long
6. For no, he got for 12 to 6 elbow.
in a fight that probably should have been stopped 3 elbows ago.
Yeah, he was.
So
Yeah,
with John, it's just his relentless excellence as a martial artist that it's like I have to watch him, even though again some of the things he's done, he'll tell you himself he's not proud of it, and I wouldn't want him representing the sport. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But the other guys, it's just too much of a mixed bag. Like George St. Pierre is fantastic. I never found his fight style particularly charisma, but he's so well rounded. Like I appreciate his greatness. Um, there's guys that have every reason to dislike, and they aren't that good. But for some reason, watching their fights, I was just always interested. Like Josh Koscheck. Like Koscheck, no one should root for Josh Koscheck. He seems to be a jerk, and he's not even that great.
Yeah.
But he's just always interesting. You know what I mean? It's always interesting to watch.
Josh.
Matt
Yeah,
Hughes, I don't
yeah,
know if I've missed that many Matt Hughes fights, but I
yeah.
rooted for him to lose in every single one.
Yeah, yeah. I actually liked Matt
Obviously, we're all
Hughes.
rooting for him now.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I actually liked Matt Hughes. Josh Koscheck, I never dug. Josh Koscheck, one of the two most indelible images in my head related to Josh Koscheck are actually both not very good for him. I remember him getting knocked completely off his rocker by Tyron Woodley. I remember him getting choked so disgustingly that a big glob of slob came out of his
Yeah.
mouth on his jaw. That was horrible. And then I also remember him dominating Paul Daly and Paul Daly sucker punching him after the fight.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy.
like, walked up to him, bow. And I remember Dan Mirgliata going, Paul, are you kidding me? Paul,
Who
are you
my last
kidding
one
me?
probably is? Honestly, it's probably Rashad Evans is my third.
Yeah.
You know what it is about Rashad? Rashad had the most unexpected career for me. I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter. He was a little out of shape. He had I believe, Michigan background. NC,
I don't think it's Michigan.
NC,
It's a collegiate. It's an NCAA background, but I don't think it's Michigan.
okay, but he had the NCAA background, and you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I can't stand not to know.
Yeah, not to know. Um, but when he was doing it, it was like he was a wrestler. He wasn't that great of a striker. He was a little out of shape. But when he was at his most dominant, he was in incredible shape, fighting undersized, knocking people out. It was so much work to transform himself into the Rashad Evans that was a champion that it was just like remarkable, for him.
Rashard Evans is also one of the single nicest dudes you will ever meet.
Yeah.
Like,
So I
I'm
mean,
telling
it's
you,
probably
like,
Rashad Evans.
yeah, he is I mean, like, you would think that, it was Michigan State. It was Michigan State. It was Michigan State. You would think that Rashard Evans was like a dude just coming up in the sport. If you met him now, he's a UFC Hall. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
For sure,
But
for sure.
you would think that when you met him, you would think that he's just some guy who's cleaning the mats kind of a guy. Just the nicest or super humble guys you ever want to meet. Just a really nice guy. I never did. The only time I disliked Rashard Evans was against when he fought John Jones. Because I've never rooted against John Jones ever.
Yeah.
So
I actually felt bad for him in that because that was a fight he really, really did not want because they'd shared camps, and he was like, They
Well,
told me I would.
he didn't talk like he didn't want it. He
No,
didn't
well,
talk like he didn't
he
want it.
complained a lot about it before.
No, I'm talking
But
about
it was
there was a lot of nasty trash talk leading up to that fight.
yeah, but the part of the reason the trash talk came out was because it was supposed to be more of a Askren Woodley thing, where it's like we're gonna keep this arranged so I don't have to deal with you because we know too much about each other and this is a fight it's not the same as me fighting some other opponent considering we trained together. And that was part of what we talked about when I brought you into my gym.